depression or let's say sadness is nothing but a mental injury. You will not get anything out of it if you try and suppress it. The first thing you need to do is embrace it, acknowledge it, and talk to somebody who can help you fix it.
Hey everyone, so welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Couch. Today I have someone with me that most of us know about. We have JC from Fitter, but he's more popularly known as a fitness influencer, and he's contributed a lot to when it comes to health and fitness and well-being industry. The reason why I'm sitting with him today is because I truly believe that there are a lot of these science and concepts that he believes in, which is not just about the body, but it's also about the mind. So JC, firstly, thank you for making time, and thank you for being with us here today. I want to dive right into it.
Sure.
And I think the very first thing I want to ask you is that, what do you think, what's the reason that people don't openly accept or talk as much as they should about mental health?
I think somewhere along the lines, and it's probably because the way we have been raised, and I'm sure this is something you see more common in men. Like women still talk, and women have their close circles, they have more friends. Men typically don't have that kind of camaraderie with their friends, especially once they're in from the college, once they become family men, and when they are well settled, they don't have the same kind of camaraderie with their old pals. And so the avenues for them to express go down, and because they have been raised to behave like a man, and behave like a man as in like Ronani. You're a man, behave like a man. And so I think somewhere they tend to suppress those emotions. And so this thing about people not going to therapists or people not opening up is more prevalent in men than women. I'm not sure if you've seen...
Stats show that.
Yeah,
of course, stats show that.
Yeah, so I think that's there. And women, I think sometimes are discouraged by their family members. For example, if I'm a guy and I have my partner and she'd come up to me and say, hey, I'm feeling, this. My first response would be, oh, maybe, is this a feeling of
neglected.
Men do not appreciate that women also feel these things. So if that is something this was like a hypothetical example, but I'm saying women also feel these things. And sometimes they don't find their partners to be responsive to these kind of issues.
Understanding and neglected and all of those things. JC, when we were talking, there was a very beautiful example behind the scene that you were telling me about कि कैसे ancient उसमें भी ये चीज exist करती है जो I think अब हम western उसमें आके भूल जाते हैं. When we were talking about mind body. So I think let's throw some light on that. How do you see the science of mind and body?
Not going back, but I think people who understand, and I've come from a school, this is Maharshi Vidya Mandir, right? So I understand the scriptures and stuff. Not so much into it now, but I've seen places and where historically the emphasis was laid on all three of the pillars, which is mind, body, and soul. So you'll see the triangle, and that triangle is a perfectly equilateral triangle, right? So balance on each of the three aspects of life. It's never just mind or just body or just soul. Has to be a balance of all three, right? So I think people need to understand that without healthy body or healthy mind, you can't have a healthy soul. In a similar manner, without a healthy soul or a healthy mind, you can't have a healthy body. Similar manner, you can't have a healthy mind without a healthy soul and a healthy body. It all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. And then we were coming to the scientific aspect of it, which I know from a physical fitness perspective, from a body perspective, that's something that there's always so much that you talk about. So I was going to show you or just tell you this thing that we lately saw in Mind Peers. So we've had a lot of people who have improved their nutritional intake. Yeah. And when they have improved that, they have directly, I would say there's a direct proportional correlation to the fact that they have seen an improvement in their anxiety levels and their mood disorders. What is it that you would like to say about it from a scientific perspective? हम कैसे लोगों को समझाएं कि to take care of your mind, taking care of your body, what you're eating, the way you're exercising, all of that is important.
See, emotions are basically chemicals in the brain.
Yeah.
right? So you have your prefrontal cortex, you have your hippocampus, you have your hypothalamus, you have your limbic system,
Yeah.
you have your amygdala. Right?
Yeah.
All of these things, they work together to process emotions. And different kind of emotions are processed in different manner.
Yeah.
And at the core of it is basically how the body is receiving the feedback from the surroundings and from its own like internal surroundings, right? If you have a pimple on your face and if you are trying to meditate, more often than not, you think about that pimple. Oh God, why did I get this pimple? Right? So it's a discomfort which will prevent you to think about something else. So whenever there's a physical discomfort, whenever it's a matter of survival, body will always trigger your survival related symptoms.
Yeah.
For example, if there's a fire, you could be meditating, you could be like the most calm person in the world. If there's a fire, and even if you had like a heartbreak or somebody broke your heart or, let's say you were feeling sad or depressed, if there's a fire, you'll start running because then that's a response which is like, your amygdala, it will detect a fight and flight response.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good or bad you are feeling, you'll immediately start to run. So the immediate feeling would be fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So body can prioritize emotions based on the state of the body. If your body is physically healthy, you will prioritize more happier emotions.
Yeah.
You will process more happier emotions. And sometimes what happens, the physical discomfort also culminates in a manner which can confuse people. For example, you're not sad.
Yeah.
You're just upset. Your mood is like irritative because of, let's say, your IBS or some sort of a physical symptom.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes because you are not able to express that physical discomfort, you express it via anger or, let's say, talking to people in a rude manner, and that kind of makes you sad or something like that.
Got it.
So physical discomfort can culminate into different kinds of emotions, which are negative emotions.
Negative emotions. Got it. Lisa, just would love to know, how are you approaching mental well-being generally as part of Fitter? Like, how are the initiatives, or how are you guys approaching that part?
So what we do is we raise quite a bit of awareness. And personally, I'm a huge advocate of, keeping your mental health in check. In fact, very recently, I took a break for almost 3 weeks when I cut down my social media, went off completely isolated. And, I want more people to talk about it also because it's so rejuvenating. It's so amazing. Like when you take a break, it's great.
Yeah.
And I used to be somebody who used to pride himself in not taking breaks. And now the things are changing because everybody needs a break from their regular stuff. And so first thing I'm doing is I'm creating awareness and I'm telling people, hey, it's cool to be sad sometimes and it's okay to be depressed sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're going in the gym. If you have an injury, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. So depression or let's say sadness is nothing but a mental injury. You will not get anything out of it if you try and suppress it.
Yeah.
Right. The first thing you need to do is embrace it, acknowledge it, and talk to somebody who can help you fix it.
Yeah.
Or even if you have to fix it by yourself, you have to acknowledge it, not suppress it.
Love that.
So what we are doing is we are raising awareness, and we also have mental well-being coaches, lifestyle coaches. So that's a small, tiny but upcoming vertical on in Fitter.
Got it. Very last bit from myself, because you covered a lot of, and I loved the part where you said acknowledge it. That's the very first step, right? Instead of suppressing it and saying that, okay, let it be. The acknowledgement part is very important. JC, I know I have followed a lot of your content personally, and what I love is how vulnerable and how vocal you have been about a lot of things that you have experienced yourself. And this very one question, which I don't know, I mean, it could be that I am biased that way, but I feel that in India, a founder's state of mind is very underrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of pressure, 360-degree pressure from everywhere. And yet we are expected to show up, we're expected to perform, scale, all of those things. Because you come from that well-being part of it, fitness aspect of things, and you're a founder, how do you approach it? What's your take? What is it, one or two things you want to tell to founders? And any routines that work for you as a founder? Like you said that, you isolated yourself, you gave yourself that break. But besides that, on an everyday basis, even because of the immense failures that we guys face, right? So two things. One, what is that few things you would like to say, the message that you would like to give to founders?
Sure.
And second, if there is something in particular and specific that has worked for you very well.
Right. So always understand, money once lost can come back again. Health once lost is never going to come back again. So never compromise your health for wealth. That is rule number one. Same applies to your sleep. Do not compromise on your sleep. See, sleep, people think it's just like people are resting, but you have to understand that when we undergo, lots of things in a day, we undergo both physical wear and tear as well as mental wear and tear. And there's different parts to your sleep. So there's the deep sleep and there's the REM sleep. So REM sleep basically repairs the mind.
Yeah.
And deep sleep basically recovers your physical self. Right. So, and REM sleep is far more important because if you're not recovering your mind, you're not only aging faster, you're waking up with bad emotions.
Yeah.
Right. So if you compromise on your sleep, it's only going to make things worse. If you are feeling sad, lack of sleep will make you feel worse. So do not compromise on your sleep and don't compromise with your routine. At times it has happened that, I told the investors that I have to sleep for 8 hours and they're like, what? You're a founder. You can't sleep for 8 hours. And I said, look, I'm not some founder. I need my 8 hours of sleep and I'm not going to compromise it for the world.
Love it. Yep.
Because I know for a fact that if I don't get my 8 hours of sleep, I cannot function optimally.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to help people look better, feel better, feel amazing. I can't do that without me feeling the same.
Yeah. You have to lead the example as well, of course.
Exactly. And I can't pretend. This is like health. You can't pretend health. There's no pretend given health. You have to be healthy. That's it.
Yeah. No, with that, I think I at least personally have always respected you for just being so raw and just being so real. बहुत कम मिलता है वो मुझे लगता है. No, like you said that I know, JC, for a fact that there are so many founders who are in and out compromising on sleep.
Yeah,
you touched upon a very important point. Aajkal hamari, like in our country, majority of the people, the first issue that they go through is sleep.
Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep. Or if they sleep for 8 hours, people are like, "Sokar kya karoge?" Right? So I really appreciate that rawness that you said that, what, if I need my 8 hours sleep to function, which of course the body does, then that's what it takes. Any last messages, especially for people who are aspiring to get their health in order?
Nothing. Just build habits. Understand that your health is, if not more, as important as your wealth.
Yeah.
And we've seen historically examples of some really wealthy people who struggled with their health, and in their deathbed, most of them wished they would have done more for their health.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody who dies says, "Hey, I could have accumulated more wealth."
Yes.
Not one person in their deathbed said, "I wish I could have accumulated more wealth." And that's very profound, right? Think about it. But every single one of them who died before their age, they said, "I wish I could have done more for my health." So you don't want to be in that state. That's like a lot of regret. You don't want to live with that regret. Have one amazing big body, take care of it, and wealth is fine. Like $1 million is same as $1 billion.
Yeah. True that.
I want everybody to become a millionaire, but after $1 million, don't chase unnecessary financial goals.
Yeah.
Add value. If the finance comes because of it, that's perfectly fine. But do understand that $1 million and $1 billion feels exactly the same. Because your necessities are
taken care of.
They are taken care of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but a health, you can be in good shape and you can be in great shape.
Yeah.
So there's no $1 million or $1 billion comparison when it comes to health. You can be like, there's no end to how much healthier you can get. And the more healthier you get, the more happier you get.
Yeah.
There's no limit to
and
that.
We currently have that. Everyone is talking about Brian Johnson's live longer and the anti-dying sort of a thing. So I think we're quite on time on that. And what you said, right? The vast difference between good and great health and $1 million and $1 billion. Very nicely put, JC. I feel lucky to have had this conversation with you, and thanks for giving us your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.